Right then, in this AD QuickBite, we are taking a look at 3 carp fishing hook baits that should definitely help you catch more carp throughout every season this year. And they all take a little bit of prep, and that's why we're doing them now. So let's start off with the one that loads of people are familiar with. It's super popular because it just catches a lot of fish. It's a bright hook bait, cast at showing fish. Fished on a pop-up rig, they're absolutely mega, but you can always pimp them to make them a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to show you here. So for me, I use sticky signature pop-ups in 12mm. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? And the reason why I use these, 1, they smell absolutely amazing, and 2, I like the different colours, which will come more apparent in a moment. So what we're going to be doing is, everybody is doing this, is adding a flavour to them. Now for me, Pango Goo is something about it. And the reason I use this one is actually a few months ago now, maybe even longer than that, I listened to a podcast with Tom Dove and Neil Spoon, and they were talking about goos and how Tom's so much loved of the pineapple, but he used Pango, and he actually said that he thinks it might be better, and that for me was like, let's give it a go, and it's been absolutely mega. So you can use whatever flavour you want within pop-ups and liquid, but for me this is just one that works. Now they take a little bit of prep to get right, so to get them right I use an infuser pot, and this is important because infuser pot has a little tray, which will become apparent why that's important at the moment. So just empty a few hook baits into here, and then we want to pimp those up. So we get our Pango Goo, and we don't need lots of it. We just put a drizzle over there, and now we shake it up. Now those 3 colours are going to change to 2 colours, you'll see in a moment, but give them a good shake, make sure it's all nice and coated, and now you'll see what happens. So the white and the yellow ones go yellow, but a real nice bright yellow, but the pink ones, they go a little bit like orangey, sort of dull yellow, and they're the ones for me that are really, really good. But just a pot there of real flavours and hook baits. And the reason why this infuser pot is so important is because that liquid will now drain out and sit in the bottom of the tub, and your baits aren't going to be soaking in the liquid. If you just leave baits soaking in the liquid, they draw too much liquid in, change the buoyancy, and then they're not a pop-up as you thought they were when you first got them out. So basically you can just keep repeating this process. Give that a couple of days, give them another shake, let them dry, a couple of days later come back to them, shake it again, and over time you can get those baits to draw the liquid right into the middle of the hook bait, so they're really flavoursome, but you haven't changed the buoyancy. So that's why that's very important, and it's something you need to get out there doing now. You know, obviously in winter these are working, I could use these now, but they're going to be much more effective if over the next few weeks I just keep repeating that process. Bit more liquid, bit more shaking. Those are going to be the baits that when the water's cold and you're casting around single hook baits, that is what I would go to. Right then, let's move on to option 2. Now this again is one that people are going to use a lot of. You should be thinking, certainly in the next couple of months, about zig fishing. It's super good, loads of fish are moving around a little bit more as the water warms up in those surface layers, and putting a zig in front of them is mega effective. Now again, you can just use foam. For me, foam is the best because the buoyancy never changes. It's ultra buoyant. No matter how much liquid you put on there, it doesn't change the buoyancy, so you know it's going to be popped up and fishing how you're expecting it to fish. So like I said, you could just use them like that, but why not? We've just said about how good that flavour is. I just used the Pango Goo again, and we give it another good squirt this time. Look how much is in the bottom there, and then give it a shake around. So in this infuser pot, I haven't actually got the lid, the infuser sort of section in it. I've just got the pot because I actually want the foam to be sitting in all of that goo, you know, as much as you can. Get it real soaking in it for ages. These will be good for next year because the foam just won't change the density and it won't change the buoyancy. So get them soaking, leave a load of liquid in the bottom. You can almost forget about them, put them in your bag. But when it comes to zig fishing, you've now got a hook bait that is mega attractive. Give them a proper shake and you should see. So again, the white does change to a bit of yellow, but if you want to use white foam, you can have a different liquid. You can put a white liquid on it and stuff like that. Just for me, this is the one that works, so why change it? So there you go. Get your zigs prepped, get your hook baits ready, because it's not long now, these are going to be the go-to bait. And then finally, this is the bait now where this does take a little bit more prep, and this is a bait that's definitely going to come into its own when the temperatures warm up, and definitely around spawning. So the fish, we've just said, have just been battered all year on bright hook baits and zigs and stuff like that. I think they become a little bit wary of them. So when it warms up, I actually go to a match the hatch hook bait and actually a bottom bait as well. I think they just caught so many times on pop-ups throughout the winter. So for me, it's the sticky krill tough ones. Whatever size you go for is up to you, but get yourself a little pot of those and then let's pimp them up again. This is all about pimping them to make them better. So first of all, we're going to add a tiny little drizzle of sticky krill glug. And when I say tiny, I do mean a tiny little bit, because you're going to see why shortly and what happens with this. So a real small, oh, that's enough. That might even be bordering on too much. Be really careful with it, because what you're trying to create is just a little glaze on them. And like I said, this is definitely something that for the next 2 months you can keep doing this, and you're going to make a really good hook bait. This is going to be around spawning time. This is going to be the hook bait that you want to be using, not when fish are spawning. We obviously don't fish for them then, but pre-spawning or post-spawning, these become into their own. So in there now, you can see what I've got is like a tacky hook bait. Now this is what we pimp them with. So in this tub just down here, I have got Himalayan rock salt in the fine. You can see how fine that is. Carp absolutely love salt, like I said, around spawning time, so you can put quite a lot of that in there. You can't really overdo it, because what you want to create is like a little, you want to take a crust on your hook bait, so that tacky glug is going to stick to them. And now what you're hoping for is you're creating baits that have got like a salt coated hook bait. So you can see here, if I tip them out, they're now got a crust around them of salt. And if you leave them like that to dry and go really nice and perfect, you can then keep doing that, so you can add layers and layers and layers. And the time it comes to spring and summer, you've got hook bait that's super attractive, and it's definitely different to what a lot of people are out there. If you haven't tried Himalayan rock salt, trust me, get out there and give it a go, because it is an absolute edge, like I said, certainly around that springtime. And these are what I'd be using from spring, summer, even autumn, going into next winter, before we switch back and basically repeat those 3 again. They are the ones for me that catch an awful lot of fish. So if you're not out there using any of those 3, I advise that you give them a go. Let us know which one has worked for you. They do take a little bit of prep, they take a little bit of work, but effort always equals reward, and those are definitely well worth a go. If you want any of the products that we've used in this video, don't forget they're available online, in store, or via the My AD app. And good luck with your carp fishing.